Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Cole at Kitschy Flower. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to. It's completely free to you and also helps grow my channel. So in today's video, by popular request, I will be doing some longer full-length YouTube videos on restoration. So today's project is going to be this wonderful little pouting bear. This one is made by, I think it's called Roselle. If I'm butchering the name, I do apologize. Insert it right here. But this one was made in 1960. Absolutely adorable. This one I will be keeping for my own collection because, I mean, it's a sad one and it's pink. Come on. But I do have a few others that will be coming up that will be for sale. But I thought, you know, since I do get requests to do a more in-depth kind of video, let's just do it. I have a couple of projects today. I also have this bijou Bugs Bunny, and I also have a commission, this awesome little Russian cow. But those will be in upcoming videos. But I will have my Amazon storefront listed down below. I will have all of the utensils, supplies that I personally use. You will have a direct link there. Plus I have, you know, it all categorized under like restoration and stuff. So it will make it a pretty easy, seamless transition over there if you are looking to restore your own. But very shortly, I will be opening up some more restoration slots. I will be doing some commissions. So if you are interested in getting your fuzzy plush restored by yours truly, I will be opening up that to the public, which I'm super excited about. I think there's a lot of fun opportunities there to work on some new ones. But yeah, this guy really sweet. Got him for a really good steal. These crying bears are usually, they do tend to be really sought after. Knickerbocker makes a couple of them that I really love, as well as Rushton and pretty much every other brand around the time. They were all just kind of rolling with the sad crying bear face. But I think he'll fit in really well with my little Miss No Name collection, which I personally love. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get him opened up. I am going to try to track down a seam ripper. My issue with the little seam rippers is I always tend to lose them. I try to buy them in like a pack of 3. Again, will be in the info below, so I might have to order some more myself. But let's go ahead, get him opened up, and yeah, let's really get into it, shall we? All right, so I am just going for the seam. I was unable to find a seam ripper, so I am just using some scissors. That will have to do. Granted, if you know what you're doing, it's pretty easy to pop these. As I say it, watch me not be able to. But nope, we got it. You just need to really pop 1 or 2, and then the rest tend to be pretty easy. So want to definitely be careful on opening these up because you do want to just pop the seam. You don't want to cause extra ripping in the plush. Kind of thinking maybe his head would be a little bit more of an easy access. Actually, I think I might. So let's just go ahead and see little seams. We're popping them. All right, so popping. All right, you guys, so I'm going to say do as I say, not as I do, because I unfortunately have no gloves currently. I've tried to look for some. Maybe I just misplaced some, but probably going to have to order some more. So I do have a mask on. because you really don't want to be breathing in this vintage stuffing. But I'm gonna go ahead, get it all removed, put it in this nice little container we have here. Well, I may not have gloves, but I am still trying to protect myself, and I am using some tongs. A great backup if you don't have any gloves. Again, I really do recommend you wearing a mask or some kind of protection so you don't breathe in these vintage plush fibers. But you know, you gotta work with what you have sometimes, and I just know to order some gloves next time. And honestly, you guys, I am pretty okay with the consistency of the stuffing. So I'm probably going to end up reusing it and putting it back in this old guy. A lot of times when you see me using new stuffing, it actually tends to be because it is either soiled, has a really bad smell to it, or it's just a consistency where I don't like. This stuff does seem to be in pretty good shape, still pretty durable. I like to try to use the original stuffing when I can. I know collectors can be pretty finicky, I've noticed, when it comes to the original stuffing or not. Personally, if I'm keeping it for my collection, I don't really give a shit. As long as you know, you're happy with the vintage plush. I mean, who really cares what stuffing and what you're doing to your own stuffed animal? I think as long as, you know, we're all just being kind to each other, you know, you don't have to necessarily agree on, you know, everyone's technique. Everyone can be a little bit different, but I think it's just important to encourage each other and to be kind. You know, when it comes to restoring, I personally haven't gotten really, you know, I haven't gotten anything too gnarly in the comments or anything, but I have noticed some other friends of mine that do, you know, some restoration work on, you know, some of their own toys and plush, and honestly, some people can just be a little bit snooty and, I don't know, a little weird when it comes to it. At the end of the day, they, as much as I love them, they are just, I mean, they're stuffed animals. Granted, I've dedicated my whole, you know, internet presence to, you know, restoring these old plush. But I think at the end of the day, you do have to, I don't know, just be nice to each other. We all want to, you know, keep the love of vintage going. And especially if you're keeping it for your own collection, I don't think there's any harm. Now, I totally understand where some collectors, you know, come from, where if you are fixing up these old plush and then trying to resell them, I totally understand collectors wanting, you know, certain collectors wanting them to be in as pristine, original shape as they can. But, you know, sometimes that's just not the case overall. I have come across some old plush that honestly, I mean, they were in dire shape. I have found some that, you know, have been left in the rain for quite some time, have disgusting odors, and then you open them up and then the stuffing is just all really, really gross. And especially in those cases, it's just like, okay, would you rather me, you know, not touch the stuffed animal and just leave it, you know, in this kind of sad state that it's in? Or would you want to see it, you know, have new life breathed into it and, you know, given a good forever home? I personally like the second option. But, you know, I'm not a collector that has to have everything in completely mint condition. And as you can see, there's always just random things. Always just random things in the stuffing. Like, I see a little bit of nylon. I mean, back in the day, they really just stuffed whatever they could get their hands on. I have found, I don't know how many times, cigarettes in these old guys. And sometimes when I do, and there are just really gross kind of things in them, that's I don't care. That's when I go and be like, okay, let me put some new stuffing in. Now, there are obviously a couple of options when it comes to stuffing. Granted, I go towards polyfill. It's super easy. You can find it everywhere, but I know some collectors really prefer the weighted cotton, which I totally understand. And the great thing about restoration like this is if you do get tired and maybe you want to, like, you know, not have the polyfill, maybe you have a change of mind, you can always open them up and just restuff them. It's not the end of the world. Noticed that really can be a hot button question, is the stuffing. Don't know why that is, because honestly, in my opinion, I mean, granted, I am going to be reusing this stuffing because I personally feel like it's in good shape. There's no odor, and it's still in pretty, you know, pretty decent shape. Actually, I love looking at the old stuffing though. It's really cool. But yeah, so I will be reusing it, but again, I'm not here to judge. I'm all about, you know, preserving the love of vintage and making these guys, you know, live on a little bit longer. So it's really just up to you and your, you know, your choice of how you would like to fix up your old plush. But personally, me being me, and if I'm keeping it in my collection, which I am planning on keeping this pink bear, you know, a lot of times I like newer stuffing if the old is in dire need of just throwing out. But of course, you know, everyone's different. I have, even in the past, sold some old Rushton stuffing. Someone has asked in the past, and I've gotten actually a couple questions what I do with it. And a lot of times, like I have mentioned, if it's in good shape, I'll try to preserve it. But if it's not, then, I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to have gross, like, cigarette-filled stuffed animals. That's just me. But everyone's different. So, as we can see, we already have 2 pans almost completely removed everything. All right, YouTube. So he held 1, 2, and 3 whole pans of stuffing. So I'm gonna save this for later. And yeah, let's give him a good washing, shall we? All right, you guys. So I have some lukewarm soapy water here. Now I will note, if you are using a plush with darker fabric or like a black or a red, those are super prone to bleeding, actually. So you got to be careful. Always, I personally don't try, if I think it's going to bleed, I won't completely dunk them in water. A lot of the time, I will kind of just spot treat them. But for him being so baby pink and white, I'm kind of okay with just dunking him in. Usually I'll use cold water, but with him, I'm going to use a little bit of a lukewarm. So, little explanation there. All right, so just going to hand wash him. Probably should be wearing gloves for this too a lot of the time, but you know, you make do with what you have. All right. And so a little bit of fading in the color. Nothing too severe. And honestly, I'm not thinking I'm going to do any coloring to him because I kind of like the very faint baby pink on him. And I think plus once I get him really clean, I think it will be good. So, just hand washing him. Again, I say this every video, but you really don't want to throw these guys in a washer or dryer. It just tends to mess up their fur. A lot of them do have mohair for their fur, and that can definitely go wrong, unfortunately. And it really just comes with experience. I will say I am fortunate enough to have a little bit of, you know, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I have a brief stint of fashion school, fashion major. So back in the day when I did do a textile class, honestly, lifesaver, but it really definitely taught me about different fibers you can use, how you wash them, how they act. So I will definitely say that class was a godsend, and definitely why I have kind of navigated, you know, cleaning and different textures and what have you so nicely. And when it comes to recoloring these old plush, filming on my another device for TikTok and Instagram for Reels. But like I was saying, when I am coloring these guys, again, I have my background in hair, so I definitely loved coloring. If you didn't know already, well, probably not. I've only ever had platinum blonde on the internet for the most part, but I have had pretty much every color under the sun hair. In the past, I was definitely more adventurous with hair colors. Now, not so much. I just like my silvery white. But that has definitely allowed me, plus my cosmetology license, it has really allowed me to understand, and again, textiles, but again, being able to know how to stain them, color them, dye them, whatever you want to call the process. Just being able to know what will cling onto and stick to certain fibers and not others. This mohair will definitely pick up coloring a lot easier than synthetic fiber. So again, you got to be cautious and kind of understand what kind of material you're working on, whereas like some fibers will cling on to things, others won't. A lot of times when I do the watercolor method, I will actually use semi-permanent hair coloring, especially if it's mohair. Honestly, most of the time if it's mohair. Just because I know mohair will pick up that coloring. I don't necessarily have to use the RIT dye or other methods. Whereas synthetic, yeah, I'm going to probably have to, you know, drench this and soak it in a more powerful solution. But I do believe this I'm working on today is mohair as well. So we should be good. I'm going to probably go change out the water. As you can see, it is a little bit grimy. Maybe you can't see it, but a little bit grimy. I'm going to go give him another hand wash, and then we'll pop back, shall we? All right, you guys. So we have officially washed him by hand. I did use my secret little concoction to brighten his white up. One of these days, I'll actually spill what it is, but for right now, it's my special concoction. So basically, I'm going to hang him up, let him air dry completely. I get this question a lot. Can I use a blow dryer on them? Honestly, listen, you can do whatever you want, but personally, I don't. Again, little bit of background in hair. I kind of understand how blow dryers work. Granted, there are cool settings, but personally why I don't use blow dryers, you know, is because there's potential to burn them, to burn the mohair. And when that happens, it's not good. Now, granted, if you use, a cool setting, that's fine, but I've also seen blow dryers be on cool setting and it just goes wrong. And I'm talking about like in the salon. And it turns hot all of a sudden. So that's personally why I don't use a blow dryer. Because, I rather just let it sit around. It won't take longer than a day for him to completely dry. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. And again, everything I'm doing here is just, kind of what I've learned along the way. I'm not saying this is the, absolute most perfect, right on the mark method, but I'm just saying this is what I use and what I've learned along the way from, my past history, like I've said, in hair, in fashion, briefly. That fashion stint was very, very short. I went to art school, but still, I'm very fortunate to have had it. And yeah, I mean, I'm just really, really excited. I will fill you in probably tomorrow or the next day, and then we will pick it up from there. But for now, I'm just letting him air dry. So. All right. Hey, guys. So it is the next day. I have completely forgot to film me restuffing him. Again, I did use his original stuffing. So now I am going in with some very fine, clear fishing line. And yes, I do use very fine fishing line for these old plush. It just works with every single color, and actually some of the old plush used to actually use fishing line as well to sew them up, so that's just kind of what I do. But he had a hole in his arm, so as you can see, I'm just doing a little bit of a cross stitch, fixing that up, and then, of course, fixing his back up so he is all nice and new. So he is missing a little bit of paint on his lips, as you can see. So I am using some acrylic watered down paint, and I'm just going to go over them a bit. Now, he is missing a little bit of his blushing on his cheek, but honestly, it's not a big deal to me. I just kind of wanted to fix up the lips. It's an easier fix. So I am just going to end up doing a flat sealant, just glossing over the lips so I seal them. And of course, all the supplies will be in the link below. So all super accessible and easy. I will say if I were to touch up the eyeshadow or the blush, I would probably use a chalk pastel and then spray with Mr. Super Clear. Pretty easy kind of go-to method there. But honestly, again, I didn't really think he needed it all that much. So next I am using a boar's hair brush, as you can see here. And then I am just going to lightly brush him out. I know my shorter form restorations, it looks like I'm brushing him super fast and vigorously, but honestly, very, very slow process. At the end of the day, you don't want to actually pull the fibers out of the bear, which is also a possibility if you're not careful. So that is why I am just gently, lightly glazing over the fur just to give it an added little fluff. So nothing too hard. I just personally like the boar's head brush because it's very, very dense and helps cover more. All right, you guys, so we just finished off, well, actually, it's been like 3 or 4 days since I finished them. I realized the outro I did and already filmed, I completely forgot to actually include my head in frame, so we are refilming. But basically, I think the only thing I didn't show myself doing, which I think I forgot, was adding just a really quick little sealant over the lips. Now, if I would have touched up his like eyeshadow or blush, which he has a little bit of missing blush, but honestly, it's fine. I don't really mind it. I just wanted to give him a nice cleaning, really. But if I were to have used some chalk pastels, again, those are going to be in my my list on, or in the bio in my Amazon storefront. So if I would have done that, I would have sprayed it with the Mr. Super Clear Flat Sealant. Definitely recommend that if you are just now getting into restoring or customizing. It is a great starter base to add onto, and then it's also a great finishing spray as well. So highly recommend it. I had a really fun time cleaning up this vintage Roselle vintage Sad Bear. He turned out pretty well. I like the faded pink. Granted, I probably could have touched up some of it, but in my opinion, I think it's fine. I was able to brighten him up a little bit. I added just a cute little heart bow. Yeah, I think he's absolutely fantastic. I'm a huge fan of these rubber face plush. So more full-length restoration videos coming in the future. So if you're not already subscribed, be sure to. I post videos here weekly. I try to shoot for like 2 videos a week, but sometimes it's hard. So I'll usually get a full-length video plus like a short little restoration video in the shorts. I think that's what it's called over here on YouTube. But anyways, all of my links will be in the bio, of course. My Instagram, we're here on YouTube. Oh gosh, what else? Oh, of course, my Etsy shop, where I always have an abundance of vintage, so check that out. And then, of course, my weekly Sunday Whatnot sale. And then, of course, I will be doing, I think I'm going to be doing some weekly sales here on YouTube. I had been doing them bi-weekly, changing back from Instagram and YouTube, but I think I'm just going to dedicate a weekly sale here on YouTube. So definitely look forward to that. I am really excited to be doing some more stuff over here on YouTube. It's fun. I enjoy the longer format video, and I've gotten over the hump of being terrified editing fuller length videos, because, you know, I've said this in the past, it's a whole different, I don't know, challenge. I don't want to say challenge because it can be fun once you get into it, but it's a whole different like entity filming, you know, a 30-minute long video as opposed to, you know, a minute and 30 or 3 minutes under. So big difference, but I enjoy it nonetheless, and definitely going to try prioritizing, pumping out some more content here, being a little bit more intentional. Yeah, I think that is about it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I am Cole at Kitschy Flower. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everyone.